Yeah, sure, Kirti, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It gives me immense pleasure to welcoming all of you to the webinar. We are excited to have you here. So let's start our session with a quote. A satisfied life is better than a successful life because our success is measured by others, but our satisfaction is measured by our own soul, mind, and heart. So, for begin our new chapter of learning, I Kirti Nahavar and I will be your host for today. This will be an opportunity for us to learn from our speaker. It is a glorious moment to extend my warm wishes on behalf of the SAMS Foundations. I want to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the speaker, Anchal Verma ma'am, for accepting the invitation and presiding over the webinar on personal branding. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of my organization. SAM's Welfare Foundation is a non-profit entity established to work in the areas of education, social welfare, women empowerment, skill development, and entrepreneurship, livelihood generation and employability, health, research, culture, international cooperation, sports, environment protection, or any other similar sector. We promote healthy lives, a balanced and active community, and strong businesses. Personal branding. Basically, personal branding is the concise and intentional effort to create and influence public perception of an individual by positioning them as an authority in their industry, elevating their credibility. Now, let's take a moment to introduce our guest to you all, Anchal Verma ma'am. Anchal Verma ma'am is a marketer by profession, an author, and a creative being. She has completed her bachelor's in business management from SRM University, Chennai, and is currently on MBA student with a major marketing management. She has worked with prominent organizations like HDFC Bank and Epsilon, which is a leader in outcome based marketing. She is currently working as a marketing coordinator for Sendine, a catalyst for digital transformation in the hospitality industry. Ma'am has been an active participant in open mics, enjoys public speaking, music, and traveling. In addition to her varied interests, she has also been working for various platforms contributing to community service and mental health awareness. Before starting with today's event, there are some ground rules which the participant needs to obey and follow them. Feel free to drop your question in the chat box. We will answer every question in the end. Every participant is requested to keep their mic mute. Lastly, a feedback from form will be shared in the chat box. Now over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kirti. Thank you for a great welcome and also a great introduction. I'll just start by sharing my screen. So let me know if it is visible. I think it should be visible now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think Kirti has already given a great introduction, but I'll just start by sharing one of the small videos. So please have a look at it. So we all are here for the topic personal branding, and we are aware of the personal branding. And I assume if we are here attending the session or like watching it live on YouTube, it is very much possible that we have come across the term personal branding a lot of times, and we are just curious to know more about it. And I think the reason I showed the that brief video of 30 seconds was to understand the importance of how the creativity of how the content works, because a 30-second video was, I think, like sufficient to tell you what all I do and what all things I'm interested in. And we will definitely talk more about it as we go forward. So we have a lot of definitions of personal branding, but whenever someone asks me what is branding or what is personal branding, what I always say is it is knowing yourself better. It's knowing your own self better, because that's when we can start working on our personal brand. So personal branding is nothing but it is a state of mind. Once we establish the kind of opinion we want the world to see or the world to make about us, we can start on our personal branding. But definitely there are a lot of terms which are attached to personal branding. It is your own image, your mission, your values, and your vision. So how you want the world to see you, or whenever someone takes your name, for example, whenever they call my name Achal, when I am not there, what do they recall about me? What do they think about me? And that is personal branding. That in my absence, or like if I'm not present there, what are they trying to understand from my name or from my image? What are my mission? What do I want to do in life? Like whether it be a small term mission, like short term mission, or a long time goal, whether it be like it doesn't matter, but what is my goal? What are my values? And that is personal branding. So definitely as a human being, as a person, you have to develop a lot of skills, but skills are not like sufficient enough. Skills are just the starting point, and once we add on experiences along with the skills, that's when personal branding takes place. Experiences as in, you can definitely add a lot of things on your resume or on your profile that you are interested in a lot of things, but then when experiences come into picture, once you have some kind of work experience or some kind of an experience, like for example you're interested in music, but when you show a picture or a video of your own self performing a gig, performing somewhere on the stage, then only people are going to understand the importance of it, or people are going to know that you are good at what you are talking about. And that is again personal branding. So there is a survey done, which is Career Builder survey, and that tells you that 70% of the employers look at the social media of the candidates during the hiring process, or like even the current employees. So I have come across a lot of people who do not entertain certain things, or who do not enter few things on their social media just because they feel someone from their office will like have a look at it. And I think a lot of us do that. And that is because we know that whenever someone wants to know about us, or whenever someone wants to like just search us online, they will go online, they will search us on social media. And that is how prominent personal branding or like your presence online is. Now, I think I want to make one thing very, very clear is that personal branding is not made only for people who are going to become public speakers, or only for people who are just going to be out there. If you are just going to be like leading a simple life, a normal life, like doing your own job, doing your own studies, even then personal branding is important. And we will learn more about it like in the further slides. So, if you're sitting here in the session, you must have some resources ready with you. Maybe you should have a notebook or a pen with you where you are jotting down the things you are like curious about, or you have learned from, or maybe you have some questions. So you must have some resources ready. So whenever we talk about any of the things, what are the resources ready? Like for the personal branding, what are the things you require handy? And I think I can reveal it, and I can just tell that we just need your own will, your own intention to create that kind of personal branding. And obviously you just need a smartphone to begin with, but apart from that, if you are procrastinating or if you are being lazy, that you are not able to work on your personal brand because you do not have that kind of resource, that may be a good smartphone, or the best laptop in the industry, like please stop procrastinating, because the only thing we require to work on the personal brand is your intention to work on it. And I'm not just saying it like just for namesake, or like just to show it, it's very simple, but I'll definitely prove it in further styles. So as I told you that personal branding is for everyone and not only for a few people. So these are the reasons why you should definitely create a personal brand. Like, doesn't matter what you truly want to become in life, or like what you truly want to do in life, but even right now, if you are a student, if you are a working professional, if you are anyone, just a normal human being who likes to interact to people or who is out there, you have to create your personal brand, and these are the reasons. First of all, it helps you stand out of the crowd. There are so many people. If you take an example of a job interview, also any kind of open position, we see there are so many people who are running for the same role, who are going to take the same role in future, but then only selected ones get selected for that kind of role. So personal branding definitely helps you stand out of the crowd. It tells you why you are unique or why you are the right fit for the job. Second thing, it leads to opportunities, very much related to the first point, that like it's not that only you can go to the opportunities, even there are times when opportunities come to you. So if you are creating a personal brand, it means if you are doing something which is different from others, opportunities will definitely come to you. It inspires trust in your audience. When I say audience, it doesn't mean only the crowd which is listening to you, but any kind of a second person. Maybe if I'm having a one on one conversation with my friend itself, he is or she is an audience. It's because it inspires trust in your audience, means that if I'm talking about something and I have a proof ready, I think Kirti read in my bio that Anchal is an author, but I have my book with me or a published book with me to show you that I am a published author. I'm not just telling that in my bio for namesake, but I have a proof with me. So that inspires a kind of trust in the audience, and that creates a credibility that yes, he or she is capable of doing this, and that's why we should hire them or give them the opportunity. Now, someone is always going to be screening you online. Very easy point, very much self understandable, that if at all we come across a name, we do search them online, we do go through their work like profiles, and just imagine there is a prominent name which you have heard someone's name, you go online, you search about them and don't find anything. You will feel disappointed because you have already made up your mind that if I have heard this person's name or if I have got to know them, I will try my definite best to know more about them. I would like to know more about what they do in personal life, how they have reached their position, that kind of position. So, your presence online is very, very important. And how to create that presence, we'll learn more about it. So, when we talk about personal brand, there are few things which are definitely interconnected, and these are the things we should focus on for time being. The first C, these are called the 5 C's of creating your personal brand. The first C is to have the clarity. Have the clarity to understand or to recognize what you truly want to be known as. There might be multiple things that you are interested in, there might be multiple things that you are good at, but you should have some kind of clarity where you want to begin with. You cannot do a lot of things together because you can't focus on everything like equally and cannot excel in everything all together at the same time. So to begin with, you should have that kind of clarity what you want to work on. Second, content. Content is the king, and it is the medium of reaching the other person or reaching the kind of audience you want to reach to. So that is why content plays a very, very important role. That's the medium. You should work on the content. You should try to deliver the best kind of content you can. And once you have that clarity, once you're working on the content, then definitely you will have connections. Connections as in people who will recognize for your work because they have seen your work, they recognize you through your work, so they will definitely form a connection with you. Creativity, this is a very, very important point because again there are so many people doing the same kind of a thing. So what makes you different? Even if you talk in content, like just take an example of a YouTuber who is doing great in his role or in his niche. Why are we able to recognize him? At the present moment, there are so many people, so many YouTubers making same kind of content, but what makes him or her different is the creativity he or she shows or the kind of quality work they deliver. So that is the creativity part which makes you stand out. And then in the end, it is the community. So once you have the kind of creativity, content, the people, you have your clarity, what you truly want to be known for, you have your community ready. Community doesn't have to be the set of people who are like liking you only, but some people who will recognize again for your work and who will be ready to vouch for you whenever you want some kind of credibility. You can show, like that's why people always mention in their resumes or in their profiles that I have these many connections, or I have these many people following me, these many views on my content, because that shows that these many people have found value from that kind of content. Now, again, we know all of these, but to get that kind of clarity, what should be the starting point? The starting point has to be the only one thing that you really want to be known for. That is the starting point you have to start from. You have to understand that one thing that you can work. When I'm saying one thing, definitely a lot of you must be thinking that there are people who do a lot of things. They are known for a lot of things. Why do I have to be known for one thing? Because if you just go back, look at their journey. For example, if I think about one name which is coming to my mind right now is mostly same. A lot of you must have heard about her. She's Prajakta Kohli. She is a very big YouTuber. And yeah, and she does a lot of things. But like how she started as a YouTuber. She started her journey as a YouTuber, and now she is into like contributing her own self into UNDP as a representative. Also, she's an actor, but she started as a YouTuber, and that's how she started or like became the name she is today. So you have to figure out that one thing, and to figure out that one thing, like SWOT analysis comes very very handy. So I think most of you must have been aware of SWOT analysis and what it really is, but I'll just throw some light on it. So, SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And not just to understand your personal brand, but in life in general, also, SWOT analysis is very important. If I give it a simpler name, you can recognize this by making your pros and cons list. I think there are a lot of people out there who always prefer to make a pro and con list. Again, I'll take an example of a job where you are confused between two jobs. You have two job offers and you are just confused. You will make a list of pros and cons. You will try to understand what am I getting in this job and what is the con, and at the end of the day you will just compare it and make a decision. Just like that, SWOT analysis is one of the comparisons which is a bit more like deep, or a deep dive into making that decision. The first step is the strength, where you understand what do you do well. Second thing is what are the unique resources you can draw on. Simply means what all things you are good at and what do others see as your strength. So this is the most important part, because you do not have to write just one thing. You can definitely make a list of multiple things you are good at, because that is all your strengths are, and then definitely we can figure it out or we can filter it out later. So, how do others see your strengths is something which I feel helps a lot of us, because the reason why we are doing SWOT analysis is because we are very confused right now. We do not know what we are good at or what all things we can try. At that time, you can definitely ask your like close friends or your close family members, your parents, what you're good at, and they can definitely recognize. They can tell you that okay, you are a good communicator or you're good in music, you should definitely try it out. There are definitely suggestions which can be acquired from people around you, because they are the ones who have like seen you very very closely. They can help you figure out your strengths. Weaknesses, what are the things you want to improve on, where do you have those fewer resources like from others. If you feel, and when I say resources, these are not just materialistic things like your phone, laptop, gadgets like tripod, not just that. But when I say resources, I also mean the skills, the certifications, the knowledge that what others are having of that same field and you lack. So you can definitely work on that. And what are others likely to see you as a weaknesses? Again, you can ask your friends or your family members to help you out with this. Now you know about your strengths. Now you are aware of what are things you are good at. Now it comes turn of the opportunities. With those kind of strengths, what kind of opportunities can come into picture? What are the things you want to like you can establish from those kind of opportunities that will work here? And then the threats. The threats are the things that like your competitors. Who are the people who are already there in the market, who are already there as a competitor in the market, and you don't have to like have some hard feeling about them, but you can definitely see them as your inspiration, as your competitors, and you can see what other value or what else you can deliver to make your content stand out. Now, if we have the SWOT analysis done, these are 4 points which come into picture and are very, very handy. Write down the features. When I say write down the features, definitely write down your SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then wait and assign it. You are good at multiple things, you are good at 5 things, but there will be one thing which you are definitely confident about. You can work on that first. So you can give it like a 1 point. Maybe you're good at singing also, you want to work on that. You can give it a half point, you can just work on it later, but you can definitely focus on the first point first. Explore the relationships. If I'm good at writing, I can work as a transcriptor, or I can work as someone who is like making subtitles for others. I can also do my own blogging. I have multiple options ready if I'm good at writing. But understand what you truly, truly, truly want to do, and then in the end design the strategy. Design the strategy as in you are now aware of what you are good at. You can now understand what all things can be done with those qualities. So develop that kind of strategy which you want to work for. And then I think these are few things which everyone should know if they're starting out to understand their personal branding, or if they're starting out to work on their personal branding. And definitely a 1 hour session will not be sufficient to talk everything about personal branding, but this can definitely act as a pressure like discussion or a fresher session where you will be aware of what personal branding is. But now I'll take some few examples which I think have inspired me a lot, and you must definitely have like known them, but let's talk more about the real life examples. The first example which comes to my mind is Ankita Chavla. She is known mostly as Hustle Rani on Instagram. You can definitely, you have your mobiles, you can search her now or later anytime. She does amazing, amazing work. She's a marketeer, she is a content creator, she is so many things. But one thing which inspired me about her is after her graduation, she was not getting the kind of job opportunity which she wanted. And that's when she created an Instagram page, which I don't think anyone would have ever thought at that point of time. Is she created a page which is known as Hire Ankita Chavla or Hire Hustle Rani, like now how we know it, how Hire Ankita Chavla. And if you go through that page, you will just see a resume over there. Can you imagine creating a resume on an Instagram profile using all those pictures? So just go through her page and you will understand she has her interest written over there. She has written what she is good at, her qualification, everything is written on that Instagram page with the help of those like pictures or those feed. So that was very, very creative, and she got like hired by Deloitte, like one of the very, very leading companies. So this is the consequences of having that kind of creativity or making that kind of content. Now, the other name which comes to my mind is Beer Biceps, Ranveer Allahabadia. Everyone knows about him. What he does different, he does so many things, but right now his podcast is like India's leading podcast or India's first podcast. So the Ranveer show is definitely known as something which everyone knows about, but what did he do different? When everyone was trying to make YouTube video, which he also makes, he is a YouTuber. What he did different is he used to shoot all those videos, call all those guests in his episodes. He also used to record them and put that on Spotify as a podcast. What he did different is a lot of people do not have the time to watch the video. So they just listen to the podcast while they are driving, while they are doing their own work. And that's how podcast became like really, really popular in India or across the world right now. So these are the people who have always shown that creativity can has no limit. Even sky is not the limit for creativity. And when you are creative, you definitely can stand out of the crowd. Again, I want to say the same thing, that these are prominent names. Do not think that you do not want to be a public figure in future, or you do not want to be a public speaker in future. I just want to lead a normal life. Even for leading a normal life, you definitely have to compete with a lot of people who are similar to you. And in that sense, how can you stand different is definitely by creating your personal brand. Now, I'm not saying that, others are not saying that, experts are saying the same thing. The first thing is by Jeff Bezos. Everyone knows him, founder and CEO of Amazon. Branding is what people say when you are not in the room. I think I started with this only, that branding is something, for example, if you just take a name Tata, everyone knows about it. If we take a name BMW, like, for everyone is aware of it. And even if like the CEO or the car is not in front of us, we definitely talk about it. It is a brand. You too are a brand, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. Definitely, even if you are not putting yourself out there, even if you're not working on anything specific, you too are a brand. And it's easily written whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not. Then the third one is personal branding is not about you. It's like a putting a stamp that when you deliver to others. So it's definitely not only about you, that if you are willing to do it, then only you have to create that kind of brand. It's there. If you agree, if you don't agree, it's always there. And then in the end, I'll just tell you that, yeah, let's interact, because these are my handles. You can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn, on um, Gmail, on Instagram. And if you have any kind of questions, any kind of queries, you can definitely ask. And with this, my slides are over, but definitely personal branding, again, there are a lot of misconceptions, and one session again will not be sufficient to understand all about it. And please drop your questions in the chat box. We can address those questions. And even if you do not have any kind of questions like right now, if you come across something later on also, feel free to drop a text on LinkedIn, like mail me, and definitely help you out with whatever I know my best, with my best. I think that will be it from my end, Keith.
Wow, what a wonderful knowledge given by you, ma'am. I hope our audience learned many things from this session. I want to thank ma'am for taking the time to share their knowledge and through giving real life examples. Ma'am, there are a few questions which our audience wants to be answered. So, with your permission, shall we?
Yeah, please.
So, first question is, what is the difference between having a personal brand versus being a social media influencer?
Okay, I think I just addressed it a lot of times, but again, I'll throw some light on it. So, a social media influencer who is definitely is someone out there who is posting a lot of content, creating content for others. That is social media influencer, and I think that is one step ahead of creating a personal brand, because personal brand is something which will be useful for all of us. I am not an influencer. I am not a content creator in general, if you see, but I'm definitely a personal brand. And I'm a personal brand because I like to keep myself updated. I like to like definitely get some skills done, because I know I have to excel in my future. I know I have to switch companies, or I have to gain a lot of experience, and that is why personal branding is important. Personal branding is not important only if you want to be an influencer or an actor. You just have to be a personal brand if you are a human being, and if you are a little bit competitor by nature.
So, one another question is here.
Yeah.
How do I know when my branding strategy is working and when I should call a wrap up?
Okay. So, okay, I'll just answer the second one first. It is never going to be a wrapper, because it is a constant thing to work on, and consistency is something you have to follow if you're working on a personal brand. You first can figure out how your personal brand is working is you can see results. You will see people liking your content, you will see people are reciprocating to it. Because right now, if I have noticed, like what I have noticed is the kind of content that is very very relatable is the one which everyone likes. If I see a video and I see, oh, okay, I have gone through this kind of experiences, I have seen something like this, then only people are going to like it. And if people are liking it, if you're getting those kind of connections, you will see your personal brand is working. If you're going for a job interview and you got the interview, like you cracked it, you got the job, you will notice that your resume, the resume you created, was working. Apart from that, if you're not getting the kind of response, you will come back, you will talk to your friend, you will talk to someone expert in that field and understand what am I lacking. And that is why it is a consistent journey, and definitely it's never a wrap up, but you will see the results if you truly and nicely work on it.
That was a very good piece of advice, ma'am. Well,
Yeah.
third question. Do you think the idea of personal branding is commonly understood?
I don't think so, because just like the first question, I think a lot of people feel personal branding is not for them because they do not like, they are not extrovert by nature, they do not want to put themselves out there. But like personal branding is completely opposite of it, because if you are a human being, again, if you are like somewhere who is working or a student or want to do something in life, just want to stand out from others, you have to build your personal brand. And that is the reason I feel personal branding is not something which is understood by people, it is properly misunderstood by people.
One another question
Yeah.
Pramod Sarkar wants to ask.
Hmm.
In psychology, one second, we have people know you are know inside you only. Which one component of them is accounting personal branding? Is it having latent strength or advice of your personality?
Okay, I think I'm not able to understand the question properly. So if Pramod can please unmute himself, it's totally all right. We can listen to him. Is it possible?
Mm,
Yes. In psychology, we have people know you, you are know inside you only. Which one component of them is accounting for personal branding? I'm definitely not able to understand the entire question, but I assume that, like in psychology, I think in psychology we are able to understand people more precisely, or we are trying to understand people better with psychology, and that is definitely accounting for personal branding, because they have created a brand from themselves. They have gained that kind of skills and knowledge where they're in a position to understand other people. So I think that's what the question was, but not able to understand properly, sorry.
It was very effective for our audience. So
Yeah.
the fourth question is, what ways does your business provide value to those who you serve?
Who use?
You serve.
Okay. So definitely it's value to the people who you serve. If we are out there, and as I think the example I gave of a content which will do work if it is relatable, is because if you're targeting a kind of audience, if you are, for example, again, I'll just give an example. If you are someone who is good in finance and you want to create reels on Instagram for finance, giving financial knowledge to them, telling them how to start their financial journey, how will you know that they are serving their purpose? Because they will have a set target audience for their own kind of content which they're creating. Not everyone will be interested in finance. For example, a person who is like just starting the college, maybe he's or she is thinking, I do not have an income right now, what should I do with this financial knowledge? So they will not reciprocate to that kind of content. But there will be people out there who are like who just got their first salary, maybe they will be interested to know what should I properly do with my salary, and those will be the people who will reciprocate. So please do not understand or assume that everyone is going to love your content. There will only be few in the beginning who will be your target audience, not everyone, but that is more than sufficient. Once they become your community, once like they are the people who are confident about you, they will definitely talk more about you or like help you reach greater heights. So understand your target audience first.
Thank you for answering these questions, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now I would like to request everyone to kindly open their cameras for a snapshot.
And until everyone is turning on their cameras, again, like a very friendly reminder from my end that if you feel you need any kind of help, or if you just want to have a discussion around this, my DMs are always open. Please do feel free to like send a connection on LinkedIn. We can connect and we can talk more about it.
Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Feedback link is already added in the chat box. Please fill this form within 6 hours. Thank you so much for cooperating. So stay connected to us for new learning. I, Kirti Nomar, your host for the today. Signing off. Having a wonderful day. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.